your main man, returning barbarian horde, here to speak to you, the pontificating genius of role-playing games. Let me show you guys something we went by after we got to doing our Father's Day thing. Went out to the Knights of Columbus with my father. He's a big member down there. Did a picnic, the hot dogs, the hamburgers, all the gimmicks, the pulled pork, if you will. It's pretty decent, little setup. My sister came out. Of course, my son's there, and some other family members. We went out that night to World's Best Comic Books. World's Best Comic Books is an enormous comic book, miniatures, gaming store. It used to be a very, very large two-story gym. It's in a very old shopping center. They have like an old used paperback bookstore. They have a comedy club there. They have, other random things there. I go past it every day going to and from work. So it's a place that's been around. It's been in two different locations, but I mean, I guess they were around for pretty much maybe even before I was in gaming. I'm not sure. I can definitely remember being 15 when I really started getting into role playing games. Not, I don't want to say when I really started getting, when I was really able to understand how to find game stores. I was 15 the first time I went to a game store because I had no idea such a thing had existed prior to that. And 15, I guess, is a pretty good age to be going down there and hanging out by yourself, trying to make new friends, trying to get into things. At some point you may be just a little bit too young for, anyone to necessarily want you up in the games. But they have a very large setup. They have a huge amount of old used books there. Of course, my son, the gremlin, was with me, and we found this World Artist Hong Kong book. I'm not positive I don't have it, but he swore me now we didn't and wanted to get it. So I was like, whatever. It has sort of a style. There's certain vampires in Asia that have this kind of gimmick going on, and he really liked the cover art. Oh, that's really cool. He really studies a lot of old vampire stuff, but particularly werewolves. Since he's been 3 years old, he's been utterly obsessed with werewolves. I remember he had this toy. I think it was from the movie Van Richten. It has like a werewolf and like a dude, and you kind of push the dude into the werewolf outfit. My son is, of course, a gremlin, as you know from looking at him. And gremlins are hideous creatures that destroy things, and they bring them into their nesting area, the broken toys. So when he was a child, of course, I would find broken toys where he would be nesting, say, up under the couch and so forth. He would hide them as if they were treasure, knowing he would be punished for breaking yet something else. So there was a lot of breaking of things then, and since then, and now, and in the future. He has a laptop that's had to have been sent back twice, and it's still under its 1 year warranty. So it just came back again from the repair. Fortunately, they don't know that there's a gremlin. I think that voids the insurance. So yeah, but they charge 50% of cover price. All these books pretty good. We just had I don't know if I mentioned it here, but about a 1.5 year long story for Vampire the Masquerade. We only go up to revise. We don't mess with the stuff after that. Honestly, we think it's kind of trash. Particularly the very newest incarnation of the Vampire the Masquerade stuff. A lot of it very poorly written. Just the mental jabronis of the industry. The hangers on, the latchkey kids of creativity. I looked to rent through some of that stuff. I was very displeased, and we were like, no, we're definitely not going to be using these things. So we don't use anything past revised. Just first edition, second edition, and revised edition stuff. The real stuff, the old stuff. The relaunch of it, it's just not for me, man. If you like it, that's cool, but me. So I picked up 2 books, 3.5 D&D books from Bastion Press. It's kind of weird because one of them is this one you see here is all black and white, all black and white, and the artwork inside this book is some of it is a little suspect. I mean, some of it, yeah, some of this artwork is. Some of it's okay, and some of it is I would consider not to be publishable quality. Some of it looks goofy and silly, and some of it just looks like it's put together by someone who's not that talented of an artist. It looks, on the inside, it looks actually a lot like a mongoose title. So this one was $22.95. This one was $18, and it's whatever price it was on these, 50%. But the guy, even after tax, it was under $30 that I paid, so he may have even charged me less than that. I'm not positive. This book apparently has knockers in it. My son loves knockers because knockers are basically filthy little gremlins. I remember we found the knockers. I think that's something I got for him. I think I had to order it online actually. Bought him for his birthday or Christmas. One of the mini role playing game books. We were doing the World of Darkness and Regular. I think I bought him like 50 Darkness books for one of those. I can't remember which of course he was very happy about. And he sits there and devours the stuff, man. He reads World of Darkness books, Within the Ring of Fire books, Dungeons and Dragons books, anything else really that we have laying around. Shadowrun, maybe. Conan RPG. He really reads. He goes through and reads the stuff. Now this is the same company, and this is another 3.5 book. So this is a bit odd. This book again, $22.95, and it's not big. It's a 96 pager, which to me that number for the time of 3.5 was out. That's quite a few years ago, right? That seems high to me. That seems overpriced. Let me see if I can find the copyright date here. Oh wow, it says copyright 2003. So for 2003, softback paperback book, and it's 3.5, but this seems overpriced for being black and white in the side. I got to say that was overpriced. But it's about caverns, catacombs, and mines and sewers, and that's sort of what captivated my imagination with it. And I can sit there, and I go to my son's martial arts, a lot. Every time he goes. So particularly with COVID, I just sit out in the car. He's got this big, huge, like the whole front of it's glass, so you can just sit there and look in. And with COVID, now they're starting to relax things, but it was easy to just sit in a car, in a nice, comfortable seat in the car, than sit to go into the dojo seats and all that. Just sit out there. I could see everything, and watching people stretch and do exercises and run around and do like basic posture maneuvers, train that sort of thing. It's insanely boring. Particularly when your son's been doing it for 6 or 7 years. So when he spars, that sort of thing, that's entertaining to watch and see how he's doing. Give him tips on his stance, and they really go out there like he's knocked some of the teenagers. Even when he wasn't a teenager, like knocking teenagers out, like literally. I've seen kids collapse in ways I've never seen anyone collapse. He knocked this one kid out with a spinning back fist, and the kid fell straight down and to the side at the same time. It was. I wish I had it recorded. It was the damnedest thing I've ever seen. Because 2 years older than my son. Yeah, it was. My son's like, I wasn't hitting him as hard as. He's like, I was only hitting him at half. I couldn't believe I knocked him out. My son's strong as a bull. Well, anyway, we got this one. This was $14.95. And again, both these books, I don't know that anyone ever actually read them. They might have even been just on their shelf there, and they threw them in there to try to sell them at half price because no one was going to buy them. When fourth edition came out or fifth edition or whatever. And I bought them, so I'm kind of guessing that might be it because they do take trade-ins there, but they had a lot of the stuff there, so I don't know. But neither one of these look like they've really been read. There's not a lot of creasing. They basically look brand new books. And I'm sure either one of these would cost quite a bit more than that because this would have been under $750. And like I said, I had to do the math, but I think he may have charged me less than 50%. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But this book is full color. It has full color art in it. You see, so it has some very nice artwork in here, and it's full color. So it's very strange to me that one book they produce in full color, and another they don't. This is apparently from a line. This is Legends Collections. And this one, they had a whole bunch of other books like this down there that were, I think they had one for like plains and one for like the woods and jungles, and then like one for like the oceans and things like that. So I'm going to take this and probably read it when he's up at martial arts, see if I like it, maybe contemplate getting one or more of the others. I don't really have a whole lot of use for underwater adventure type stuff. Like, in theory, you might be like, oh, yeah, it's going to be neat, but do you really ever use things like that? Maybe, but I don't know. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. And if I want to do that, I kind of know what I'm doing down there. But, talking about the minerals and the plants, the animals, things like that's sort of more along the lines of what intrigued and interests your main man's mind on this particular occasion. But something like this with familiars and that sort of thing, I thought that would be kind of interesting. And if you guys want to review any of those books, feel free to let me know because we could probably make that happen after I sit down and read them because they'll be on the reading list. Well, the two Dungeons and Dragons ones, the other one, that's his. I just bought it for him. Uh, the Hong Kong setting isn't one that I could ever imagine that I would be running. I've never been to Hong Kong. I don't know that I would necessarily be able to do it particularly well, nor does it in any way interest me or spark my creative engines. And that's really something you got to be able to do. Know what's going to interest you and what isn't. So that's sort of how that goes, Barbarian Horde. Until next time, it's been your main man, and get your game on.